we let everybody jump on here and give it a few more seconds to get going here. We'll get kicked off here in just a second. I'm just loading the leaderboards that Miss Lori was kind enough to email over to me. I'm trying to get those to load up here real quick, and we'll get kicked off. Looks like we have a large influx of attendees starting to all connect in here over the last 30 seconds. We'll give it about 15, 20 more seconds, and we're going to get kicked off here. I normally try to have some kind of inspirational music playing at the beginning, but I had to reboot my computer about 5 minutes before we started here. And so I wasn't able to get logged in. I didn't want to delay getting the meeting started. So we'll take a rain check on the music. And
sing for us, John Paul.
What's that? I haven't done that since a past life. There's more to that than you know, but I won't let that cat out the bag. It's a different conversation for a different day. All right, so we'll go ahead and get kicked off here. Let me see. Yep, got a good group of attendees. Looks like folks are still dialing in here, so we will get kicked off. And Mr. Erick Sullivan, you with me here today? I don't know, see if Erick's connected yet. All right. Well, we will go ahead and get kicked off here for the leaderboards. And first and foremost, happy Friday to everybody. And Chris Menifee, I don't know if he's dialed in. He may have just been dialed in, but he needs to be just enjoying himself up at the lake and catching some fish and having a good time because he's on vacation. But I think he may have been dialed in. I think he's got the raccoon internet service up there in the sticks of the Ozarks, so but nonetheless, we will get jumped in here real quick and get the day going. And so we'll start off with the leaderboards. And so first of all, welcome to everybody. See there's some new faces on as well. Some new folks as we continue to grow our team, and some other folks that are just not connecting. I see everybody there. There we go. Sorry, I was just looking to make sure that certain attendees knew some of my new folks were on, and they are. So good stuff. All right, so let's get kicked off the leaderboards for the week, and we will get going on the top 10. So number 10 for the week, we had Ms. Sydney Lee with 3 applications for $1,843 direct to Ms. Stella Dinwiddie. Number 9, Miss Stephanie Stubbs, Miss Stephanie Part-Time Stubbs with 3 applications for $2,320 direct to myself. We had number 8, Jacob Marriott, 1 application for $23.97 direct to Miss Donna Bates. Number 7, Stella Dinwiddie, Miss Stelly, don't call me Dinwiddie, with 5 applications for $27.1860 direct to Chris Menifee. Miss Stacy Love, 6 applications for number 6, 3 applications for $29.8224 direct to Ms. Donna Bates. Number 5, Terry Myers, 5 applications for $33.21 direct to Ms. Stella Dinwiddie. Number 4, Nicole Wilson, 3 applications, $3,426.36 direct to Ms. Natalie Hermit. as this team continues to grow deep as we grow wide. Outstanding. Number 3, myself, 2 applications for $4,352 direct to Chris Menifee. Number 2, Donna Bates, 7 apps, $5,540.28 direct to Spencer Cushion. And at number 1, no stranger to this spot, both in app count and APV, Miss Jennifer, nobody puts baby in the corner, Gray, 8 applications for $6,113.16 direct to yours truly. Awesome job. So that's for the week. And then so we'll kick over and look at the month. Now I know today is the last day of turn-in for May, but keep in mind, as we discussed, everything's based on net place numbers. Now the question is, are some carriers going to consider that with Monday being the holiday, even though the 31st is Monday, you know, based upon instant approvals and things like that? That may vary by carrier, but I would still swing for the fences this weekend if you're close to getting a promotion and trying to get your next level. Make sure you're getting as much on the books and in the system as possible, because starting tomorrow for turn-in is starting tomorrow is for June turn-in for Symmetry's monthly numbers, but it's still till Monday, the end of the calendar month, as it relates to net place numbers for the carriers. Okay, and we will get kicked off here for the top 10 for the month to date so far. And it's not over. I know there are folks who have appointments today, including myself. But number 10, Miss Eva Bowman. I know, don't call me Eva, Eva Bowman, right? Am I correct in that? It's Eva, right? I don't want her to slap me through the screen. Miss Eva Bowman, 1 application for $45.28 direct to Stella. Number 9, Sydney Lee, 10 applications, $7,626 direct to Stella. Mr. Andy McKinley, 13 apps, $9,325 direct to Mr. Chris Menifee. Our featured guest today, Mr. Erick Sullivan, 10 applications for just under $10,000 direct to myself. Number 6, Donna Bates, 15 applications for $11,882 direct to Spencer. Miss Jennifer Gray, 20 applications for $12,719 direct to myself. And with app count for the month, Terry Myers, 24 apps for $12,857 direct to Miss Stella Dinwiddie. Number 3, Stacy Love, 19 applications, $15,303 direct to Miss Donna Bates. And then number 2, myself, 10 applications. I can't wait to close on this damn house so I can stop being distracted for $16,031.16 direct to Chris Menifee. And number 1, Stella, don't call me Stelly Dinwiddie, 23 applications, just missing the app count lead at $26,642.88 direct to Miss Chris Menifee. Outstanding job, Stella, and everybody. So we will conclude the leaderboards, and then what we'll do is I will kick it over to Stella for her team and any announcements that she might have for her group real quick and give you an opportunity. Stella?
Well, thank you, John Paul. You know me. I'm super grateful and thankful to be here. First most, like, what an amazing group of everybody that's here. Every face that's on here is amazing. Like, every one of you, even if, you know, whatever you did this month, you know, what you do behind the scenes doesn't go unrecognized. And that includes your attitude and, you know, stuff that you have in your pipeline and what's going on. One correction I just wanted to say real quick, it's not a big deal, but this past week, my APV was actually just shy of 5,000, but it's not done yet. So I don't know why that's not showing, but I think I have like 6 applications or something like that. I just wanted to say that. So I don't know what was not showing up in off there.
Yeah, I just went off the leaderboards that she sent to me. Sorry about that.
Oh, that's okay. I thought you were gonna say Chris sent you. We can blame it on Chris.
No.
I'm just kidding. But seriously, I really just wanted to, you know, make a recognition. Terry, you had 24 applications this past month. And all day long, I would rather have more applications than more APV, because number 1, they stick more. Number 2, more importantly, you're helping more people. And that's just crazy amazing. That is so phenomenal. So that's my biggest goal, is just write more applications. And I just wanted to recognize Sydney, who's been working really, really hard behind the scenes. She's got a bunch of DFL she's working on, and that struggle doesn't go unrecognized. And I know that sometimes you can feel like, when you're in the process or you're stretching and growing, it can be so frustrating to anybody, here. And for those of you that are newer, and you're going through your learning process, just hang in there, because I'll tell you, it gets easier. I had, sometimes we have this epiphany and the light bulbs go off in our head. And this morning was the process. After a while, the process gets easier. And I was thinking about how grateful I am for this opportunity for so many reasons. And one was that I have control of my own schedule. Nobody else dictates that. I can write as much business as I want. I didn't write as much business, as I did this last week, just like you're talking about, John Paul, how, you've been absorbed with your house. Well, I had some things happen this past week. They weren't bad. They're just life. Life always happens. None of us are immune to crap that gets thrown at us, and things happen. But guess what? I could step away from my business and go take care of my family or whatever it was. And I didn't, and I was able to jump right back in. And I know today I'll get back on the phone and I'll go fishing. I'll go fishing to go help people. And I'm so excited about that, because what an amazing opportunity we have here. So even if you didn't already, get what you were hoping to fish for, just go back out there and throw your line out there again. And Dave Moan, who's writing more. I love your attitude when we have our conversations. I'm so proud of you, brother. And Tasia, who's back in the game, who, I'm just so excited for her. There's people that we don't hear about that are out there. And I know there's a ton more that I don't know that are on your team, John Paul, and on Chris's team, if he's listening. But just really wanted to give a shout out for those people that, you may not hear their names, but for whatever reason, sometimes, they're dealing with things that's going on, or, we're at our different paces, whatever it is. But those of you that are trying your hardest, and sometimes you might feel like I'm doing everything that I'm supposed to be doing, and it's just, I don't see the results. Just keep at it. It's okay. Winston Churchill says that something about how you just, the successful people go from failure to failure without losing enthusiasm, or something like that. So just keep your enthusiasm. And I just wanted to say that. Oh, and a lot of people have DFL class this morning. So if you see people drop out, John Paul, that's also fine. So I just wanted to hear that. Thank you for letting me share.
Sure, absolutely. Yeah, there was another one the last week or two, and people were doing the same thing. So, but yeah. So, and the other thing I wanted to recognize to that point is first of all, first time writers, right? And it wasn't on the list of that Lori sent to me in the screenshots. But we did have another new writer on my team for this week. Last night, Mr. Terry Gaston in Arkansas is director, Mr. James McKeon, who's starting to be able to be refocused with us now after, some other things he needed to take care of. He's back on the call today and working on his team and helping his people write business. And so great job, Terry Gaston, working off his 50 cents leads. He just got the first batch the other day. He made some calls and set an appointment and wrote a guaranteed advantage app for Mutual of Omaha for about $600 for a gentleman last night. They got it into opt. And so great job there. I mean, that's huge. Anything you can write on 50 cent lead when you're first getting going, especially in your first batch of leads and stuff. So great job there, Terry. I know it's been a long, challenging road for you on your studies with other family obligations, and to be able to kind of get to this point and how long it's taken, but you did it, brother. You're finally here. You got your license, you're rocking and rolling, got your first app, man. So super proud of you. And James, great job on helping and coaching him as well. So
absolutely. Yeah. And Terry, I just want to say as well how proud I am of you. And I'm glad to have you on this team. I know how excited you are. And I'm really grateful and blessed to have you. And I'm thankful that you were put in our lives to help other families. So keep it going, man. You got to keep the dials going. All right. Nothing happens without making the dials, right?
Outstanding. And we have a lot of new people. So just to kind of introduce James McKeon. James and I have known each other for over 20 years. And we were in the security business together back in the day at Brinks and ADT. And he came in, that was last year, and actually was the #1 new writer in the entire Pogue agency this last year, but had some other family issues. He had to be able to go back and focus with ADT because he had left there. Not to get into too many details, but just had to focus on other things temporarily. But now he is starting to come back into the fold and start to work on another more detailed transition strategy and plan. So super excited for him to kind of come back into the mix and really we miss his contribution and his input for the team for sure. So glad to see you back in the mix.
Here, man. Glad to be back. I miss you guys, Lionel, Jenny, Eric, everybody else, Stella. Good to see you again. JP, you too, man.
Pshaw. All right. So we will get kicked off then and introduce our guest speaker today. And before I do that, I do want to kind of cover one thing that really piggyback on what Stella said. And it'll really kind of segue right into our guest speaker today, because, you know, it's really about basics and fundamentals, right? And staying focused on, keep the main thing the main thing. So I think far too many times what happens is you might not have the week that you wanted, or you might not have the month that you set out to do, but you can't let that distract you from the ultimate prize here in the end game. I mean, this is a forever money situation. This is legacy generational wealth, and it's not predicated on any individual week or a day or any specific month. You can have an off month, you know, whatever that means to you and where you want to go. But what you can't do is let that derail you. You've got to get focused, get right back in the mix, and stay intentional in everything that you do, right? And put that in your rearview mirror. There's a reason why the windshield is significantly larger than the rearview mirror. If you have a bad week, bad day, month, throw that shit in the rearview mirror and keep it going, right? Forget about it. You got to stay focused on what's ahead of you, and don't let that sway your focus, right? Because there are times you're going to have distractions, and Stella brought it up, and I know I've had this personally, and I know, you know, I don't want to get into too many details, but you know, Jenny and I talked about this a couple of weeks ago with all the rains and stuff they had down there in Louisiana. Her mom's house got completely flooded. I mean, it threw her whole week off, but you know what? You got to drop your shit and go take care of mom, right? But you know what? The fact that we can do that and don't have to answer to anybody, you don't have to ask anybody's permission. You can go take care of your family, because that's why we all do what we do. And then be able to get back into the mix, you know, and start to focus back on you once you've taken care of those obligations that you need to take care of. And that's one of the things we have is balance. Does it distract you? Does it maybe set you off? Does it set you back? Does it cause you to take a few extra weeks to get your momentum back? Yep. Welcome to the club. So what? Buckle up, Buttercup, right? It doesn't matter. So but that's the key. You've got to be able to do that, right? So we all deal with it. Everybody's got things, you know, and it's not always visible or shared with folks on at large. But whatever challenges and adversities and upsets and things that you are going through personally, financially, your family, customers, we all go through it. Every one of us. None of us are exempt, right? We all go through the same stuff. The question is, how tough are you, right? And I know I'm tougher than a bad day, right? You got to be stronger than a bad week or bad month. Stay focused on what you got to stay focused on. The only way you will not make it here is if you quit, right? So catch your breath, slow down, regroup, realign, refocus. Just don't quit. That's all, right? You don't lose because you got knocked down. You lose because you quit, right? And so just keep that in mind in everything that you do, right? And today is the last day of the month for turn in. So sure, do what you can today on your customers and appointments. It's a holiday weekend coming up. So, you know, the point is, do what you can and leave it behind you. May's done. Focus on June and continue to push forward, right? Because next month is what's important, not what happened last month, good or bad, right? You got to start from scratch and dig in. So if you didn't end up where you wanted to be, production-wise, it's okay. You're building momentum for next month. Now come back and make June the best month you've ever had personally. And that makes up for all of it. You'll quickly forget about May, if it wasn't what you wanted it to be, right? Or if you had challenges with family and all that. It's about how you fight, how you dig to get back into the fight, right? So just wanted to share that because I know that's relevant for a few other people on the call as well, and it really kind of piggybacks on what Stella had shared. So thank you, Stella. So let's go ahead and transition now into my guest for today, who is direct to me, and he is got a very, very solid team of individuals, including Miss Natalie Hermit, who's direct to him, who has a solid group of people in her organization. But Mr. Erick Sullivan is in his second month of qualifying for 90% right now, and all things looking good, and the number of riders, APV, but more importantly, with where he's positioned for his base shop, I mean, the folks direct to him, and then with the folks direct to Natalie in his organization, he's about to make a run for AO, right? So you got to be at 95% to make AO, but you don't have to qualify all 3 months at 95%. So if you've got the production number in riders, when you're at your first 2 months at 90 and 90 to get to promoted to 95, and you hit the numbers in the third month, as long as you've been promoted to 95, you can get promoted to AO or qualify for AO in that third month of your run. So that's exactly what we're working on with Erick to do. And very, very confident, blessed to have this gentleman on the team and what he adds to the value he brings to our organization. He's my brother from another mother. Even though he's not an alpha, I know he wants to be, but that's okay. I'm gonna cut him some slack and I'll give him a referral recommendation letter if he ever needed it. So, but the point is focused on his team, a great leader and mentor, focused on the system and the mechanics and the basics of what provide success, and also the tools and resources we have available. So I thought it would be very, very appropriate to give him the spotlight today and really kind of do a little bit of Q&A and let him kind of shed some of his knowledge and impart his influence on our group about what he's been doing to find success here, and just let him pour into us a little bit. So are you with us, Erick?
I am.
I thought after all that you'd fallen off the call, man. I was like gonna be like crickets.
I'm here. Erick Sullivan, of course, soon to be direct to Symmetry, direct to John Paul Vetter. What about that?
120, here you come, baby.
Oh yeah. And obviously, I appreciate the spotlight and everything. And it's just a blessing to be here. And I almost can't start this off by without acknowledging the team, because at the end of the day, it's the team that has allowed me to get to this level as well. So Brad Higgins, Mary Brown, Carmelita Green, of course, my best friend Natalie Hermit, and then we actually have John Paul. We actually have Camden on the line, who just got out of this test. So
all right, what's up, Camden?
Oh yeah, and so he's gonna be big. But anyway, sorry. Next. Yeah, that's it.
Oh, okay. Yeah. All right, no worries. I thought the screen froze or something there for you. No, that's good stuff. So I think it's relevant for everybody, really for us to kind of discuss, because we do have so many new people, but even the people that are here that have had some success, and have been here for a while, I think it's too easy for people to get away from the basics, right? You start finding some success and you kind of find your own little nuances of the way you do things. And then we get a little further down the road and we're not having quite the success that we were having, and we don't know what's going wrong or what we're doing different. What am I doing wrong, right? And in your mind, you can convince yourself, well, I'm doing all the same things. And it might be something very, very slight, a little tweak that's really the linchpin in what you're doing, right? So I just thought it would be relevant because Erick's very, very solid in the fundamentals and basics, as I stated, in using the tools and resources and planning, and it's all the above, right? So I just wanted to kind of talk a little bit today about back to the basics, right? So we can kind of make sure that those things are not lost or forgotten, so we can refresh the memory of some, and then also be able to instill the importance of the fundamentals in some of the new folks we have on the call. So I've got some list of questions and such like that. And by all means, Erick, I want you to kind of free reign and color commentary and elaborate as necessary or appropriate. But let's kind of talk about some basic categories, so to speak. I guess really to start off with, what's one of the biggest things you feel like you've had to change so far in your journey here at Symmetry?
Good question. I think one of the biggest changes that I've had to make here is, strangely enough, is letting go of the ego. Because, like so much of us, or so many of us, what happens is that, we've had some success in the past. Maybe you were in charge at a former job. Maybe you were used to making, 7 figures or 6 figures or what have you. And, for whatever reason, whether it was to your fault or not your fault, or, the company just downsized, et cetera, now you're here. And so you bring that mentality of, okay, well, I'm used to this, and this, but what Symmetry's system, really requires you to do is to kind of lay all of that down. If you want to make the most out of it, you got to lay all of that down and let that ego go, so that you can, be humble enough to be coachable and teachable. And I think just a lot of us, and me, that's just one of the things that I definitely had to do. And of course, when I came from a position of, being basically in charge, as a matter of fact, literally just won sales manager of the year, literally. And was, the company had to downsize since I was the new sales manager, and making 6 figures, all of those type of things. And, here we are starting over. So it's kind of like that. And so, you can get into that mode of, maybe having a victim mentality. But what we have to do is to, just humble ourselves, and we have to just make sure that we have, good counsel around us, a good support system, so that we can, have that positive, honest reflection, because there's some people, they, you've been married 4 times, and every time it's the other person, it's like, it's never nothing with you at all. You have relational conflicts all around you, and you never thought maybe me, and
there's a common denominator there, right?
Exactly. So, we got to be honest with ourselves, be able to look in the mirror, and sometimes we have to say, I got to change. And that's what the system and everything requires. And that's what it definitely requires me of letting go of that ego.
That's so good. That's a great point. I think that what happens is that so many people come here, if they've had success in other places, right? They come here with a sense of entitlement, right? Like of what they did before, and because their title or whatever awards they may have from back in 1986 for selling widgets and gizmos and whatever that might be, right? That's cool, right? But that has nothing to do with what we're doing now. It's a clean slate. And I think some people can't just let it go and apply everything about themselves to this opportunity, right? And so, for me, that's exactly what's allowed me to fly this plane while I was building it, because of everything I've done in my past. Everything has prepared me and molded me and led me to have run across the ZipRecruiter ad that Chris Menifee placed about 3 years ago now, when I first saw the ad, right? So everybody's here from somewhere else, right? It's about how coachable you are and how well you become a student of the system. There's so many people that are doing it, right? But I think that discipline is one of the biggest challenges when people have had things, I don't want to say handed to them, but when it was kind of teed up and you were in a confined space with guardrails as an employee, but now you're given free reign, and all of a sudden we can't figure out what to do, or what we need to do for ourselves. And what you have to keep in mind is you're not washing your ego aside for somebody else that's your boss. You're doing this for yourself, and you're so worth it. You have to come to that realization that you're going to do whatever you need to do to make this a reality, and follow in the path of everybody that's ahead of you, because there are people that are doing it. Right. So that's so good, Eric. That's great stuff. Because ego is the number one thing that'll derail most people here. They think they're too good, or, and they're above something, and when the fact of the matter is, you're just not committed to yourself as much as you say you are.
Yeah.
Right.
And not to interrupt you, but
no, you're good.
That's such a an amazing truth that's really hard on you when you have to face that, because at the end of the day, you can come in because of your status in the past or whatever your accomplishments, and now you're coming in and you're thinking, okay, well, they're telling me to do this, but I've already done that before, that doesn't work. And so you're already coming in trying to change the system, and with your own thoughts and all of those type of things. And the reality is that, again, we have to eventually come to that realization. The shortest distance from point A to point B is a straight line, but when we throw in our other things, now we're going over here and now we're having to come back here. And there's a reason why the system works.
Absolutely. And it's amazing how, if you listen, and you should be plugged in to all the national calls and all the other things we've got going on. There's so many people here with deep 6-figure, 7-figure, even a couple of 8-figure income earners. And they all will tell you freely what the recipe to success is. And you hear everybody basically saying the same thing. And it's genuine. When you're talking, everybody on here knows when you're talking to somebody or you're listening to somebody and that they're full of crap. That. I almost said something else, but you know what I mean? You can feel it because it's not real. You're like, there's something just not right about that.
Yeah.
I've never, ever, and I've got the most accurate bullshit meter of anybody you've ever met. And I've never, ever felt that way about anything I've ever heard from anyone at Symmetry. And that's the difference for me, because it's so real. It's so genuine. And they're so just good people with good hearts and with solid purpose and intentions and one of the best business models I've ever seen. And the key is listen to what these people are saying and follow their guide. Quit trying to reinvent the wheel and make the system fit you and plug yourself into the system.
Exactly.
Great point, Eric. All right. So next question then. All right. So, how important is having a schedule to you? And with that, I'll tie in the conversation about, leads, and your commitment to leads, because that all kind of goes into schedule. So kind of talk to us a little bit about that.
Well, naturally, having a schedule is going to be very important, because ultimately what it's doing is that it's giving structure. Your bones give you structure. If you didn't have any bones, then would you be able to, move about and do really anything? And the answer is basically no, you would be very limited. But the structure comes from the schedule, and out of that schedule, consistency is born. Reliability is born. If I'm supposed to do this every day at this particular time or what have you, then, we're people of routine. We're people of habit, and those routines and habits, that's really what take us to a destination. And like you were saying as well, almost everything ties into it. Your goals are intertwined as a result of that schedule. The leads and the consistency of buying leads. In other words, just simply following the system, all of that is kind of built on that schedule. And of course, with that schedule, you have your non-negotiable things that are in the schedule. So if it's time for dialing time, that means that it's time to make dials. And, it can feel good when you have an appointment, but if it's dialing time, it's time to make dials, because the time that you're spending on that appointment may be, or even getting ready for an appointment, it's time that you, especially if you're supposed to make dials, that you probably could have set several appointments. And then a lot of times, I think all of us had that experience before, to where we put all of this energy into, okay, I got this appointment. Oh, the everything sounded real good. Oh, I know they like me. They love me. Man, they were laughing at everything I had to say. There's all of these things. And then you put all of this pressure into the appointment, only for the person to no-show you. So you've run quotes, all these preliminary quotes, you've talked to your mentor, you've done all of these things, but now, and then when you look back at all of that time that you spent, it's like, wow, man, I can't do that. I can't make a living like that. So, having this schedule and sticking to that schedule is going to be something that's very key. And like I said, the goals and everything, knowing your numbers, all of those things just kind of tie into that. If you don't know where you're going, then, obviously any road can take you there. I'm here in Atlanta, Georgia. And for those of you who know Atlanta, basically it's 285. 285 is like a big circle, and it has like 100 exits. And all of the exits are good, but only one of them is right. and that's dependent on where you're going. And so the schedule, the goals, the everything, all of that just kind of ties into it. So you gotta definitely have that structure in the schedule.
Yeah, that's so good. And you know, those of you that have been around for a while, and again, I reiterate because there's so many new people on the call, but I don't understand how somebody can dedicate decades of their lives to a company, getting up early in the morning, shaving, putting your makeup on, ironing your clothes, whatever you're going to do, getting up at the crack of dawn to go sit in somebody's damn traffic for 2 to 3 hours, sometimes round trip to and from, to punch somebody's clock, to work for some boss that you don't even really like, in a job that you're going to do just enough that you don't get fired, and they're going to pay you just enough so that you don't quit, only to get slapped in the face with a downsizing or reorganization or layoffs or whatever at their whim. You'll be focused and disciplined to that every single day for decades, but you come here and have an opportunity to literally be given the golden key to make this anything you want it to be. And people lose their mind because they can't focus and control themselves and be disciplined on committing to themselves of what they want to accomplish. And I can't figure that out with some people. I don't understand that. That's a number one key to success here is how committed are you to yourself and sticking to that schedule and system and the basics, all the things we're talking about. But see this for what it is and be committed to this no matter what. You know, if you had a job and they told you that in 30 years, you know, you were going to be given, you know, millions of dollars for your retirement that'll last forever, you know, no matter what you got to deal with and put up with at this job, just stick to it. No matter how much you hate your boss and how much BS you got to deal with, stick it out. And this is going to happen. You do it. You'd find a way to get through it no matter what. You'd find a way. But this is so much better because you're in full control. You don't have anybody to answer to except yourself when you look in the mirror. Right?
Yeah.
Go ahead, Eric.
I was just going to say, absolutely. I mean, I think at the end of the day, for most people, you know, we've come from that W-2 world. And, you know, like I said, we're creatures of habit and routine. And, you know, I think that situation alone kind of tells you people, you know, they say they don't want to be told what to do, but they're demonstrating they want to be told what to do, you know. So the thing is that when you are being told this, and this, and if you do this, then you're going to get this. But then when it comes to for yourself, and that's the beauty of symmetry, in my opinion, is that it frees you from those things. But sometimes it takes people longer than others, some longer than others, to actually come to the realization that this is going to be everything that I make it. And this is also that value of having the right people and everything around you. Because, you know, if you don't have the right people around you, then, I mean, you know, let me say it like this. I mean, if you're the smartest person in the group of people that you hang out with, then you got to get another group of people because you're not being challenged. And, you know, they're always coming to you. And yeah, maybe your ego feels good because you're able to answer all of the questions or whatever, but, you know, you're really not growing. You know, and people, you know, they love the results of personal growth, but nobody, you know, wants to look at the pain that's required to get those results. So.
Yeah, that's so good. And to what you just said, if you are the most successful, smartest, sharpest, most ambitious individual within your spheres of influence, you don't have a circle of friends. You have a cage.
Basically. Beautiful.
You have to expand your horizons to get around people that are where you want to go. And the difference is with symmetry, they're everywhere. We're all over the place. Everywhere you look, and they're willing to tell you everything. There's no secrets. You know, there's no, password to the honeycomb hideout, so to speak. I mean, we'll tell everybody. Those of you that are older know what that means. If you don't, then, you know, go Google it on YouTube. So, but the point is, it's making sure that you are focused on what's important for you. And you made a good point too, Eric, about, you know, people want to go to a job or whatever and have a boss or somebody tell them what to do, you know, and such. Here, you don't have a boss telling you what to do. You have a mentor that's giving you course and direction on how to accomplish it, because they're doing it, not a boss who read it in a book and is telling you to do it because somebody told him to tell you to say, because I said so, kind of a deal, right? And the difference is you don't have to do it here because I'm not your boss. I'm your mentor, but if you're not going to follow the direction that I'm telling you so you can accomplish what you told me you want to accomplish, then I've got tons of other people that are plugged into me that I need to pour my energy into that deserve my attention because I owe it to them. If somebody's not going to follow the blueprint and they're I'm gonna say a problem child, or somebody is not following the system, or somebody thinks they want to just do it on their own, they're disengaged. There's sometimes, man, you're gonna get sometime focus from me, I promise you, because there's other people in this call that are plugged into me every single day. And more importantly, we have great friendships above and beyond the symmetry relationship that continue to strengthen and bond our relationships and what we're doing on this journey, because we're working together. Nobody here works for me. Nobody that comes to this opportunity works for you. This is an opportunity to work with us. And we're looking for good business partners that we can, mentor and teach how to do this business and then get the hell out of your way and watch you shine. That's what we want. But some of y'all, we want it for you more than you want it for yourself. And that's a big pill for some folks to swallow. And I ain't got time to babysit grown folks. Exactly. The people who are committed to their forever, I'll give you everything I got. I promise you. And everybody on my team and everybody around me that's ever connected with me, call me, even if you're not in my organization. Stella, reach out to me if you need help. I'm here 100% for everybody because I want you to find success. But at the same time, there's other individuals who don't plug in. I'm not calling you. I'm not chasing you around because I got other people that need my attention and they deserve it. And that's where it's going. So you have to self-identify, what you want to accomplish and make that abundantly apparent to your mentor so that they know that you deserve their attention because you want to learn from them. They're where you want to go, regardless of where they are on this journey. Does that make sense? Yeah,
absolutely. That's why we mentor movement. That's why I say that all the time.
Yeah, I like that. I like that. Yeah, you've said that before, and I really like that. All right, so let's keep it moving here. So next one. So, how do you develop self-discipline?
Well, you can develop self-discipline, several different ways. I think one of the most effective ways for us to develop self-discipline is, put your goals and everything where you can see them. Because a lot of times what happens is that when you're putting your goals on your computer screen, or if you have it on your screen on your phone, every time you look at the time, if you have it on, the bathroom mirror, or the refrigerator, so on and so forth, what you're really doing is that you're painting a picture in your mind, and you're really developing a consciousness of this. And when you develop that consciousness of it, for example, if you were trying to lose weight and you had a picture of this and a picture of something that says, okay, well, only X amount of calories per day or whatever, then when it comes time to eat, it's going to roll back in your subconscious and come up before you and say, okay, well, remember, only such and such amount of calories. And then now you have a choice. And that choice is that either you're going to follow what you know you're supposed to do or not. But it's the consciousness that you're developing. And when you put your goals and everything like that in front of you, that's what, that's going to help develop that self-discipline, when you make smaller goals first, so not making goals so big. I mean, if I'm going to work out and I haven't worked out in 15 years, I'm not going into the gym saying that I'm going to do 300 pounds today. No, maybe you just need to start with the bar. And do that a handful of times, feel good about yourself, and then put a little bit more on it. So starting out, smaller, so that you can have some wins behind you, all of that. Self-discipline, a lot of it is getting your mind right as well. And one of the great ways to do that as well is for you to, listen to SoundClouds, listen to the YouTube videos, the conference call. And the more that you're engaged, so on and so forth, you're hanging around it. You're in this business. What I'm learning is that immersion wins. That's what wins. You got to be immersed. Another way of putting that, you got to drink the Kool-Aid. You can't sip the Kool-Aid. You got to go ahead and drink all of it. So when you do those things and you're hanging around and you have the right things going into you, it's developing the right mindset. And that mindset, we all know just about everything comes down to your mindset and that perspective. So you want to have those you want to develop discipline, self-discipline by doing those type of things. Obviously, you can also go to your mentor or your friends, and they're gonna hold you accountable for those things and the things that you want to do. Another great way for self-discipline, believe it or not, is to hire somebody, because now they're going to be looking at you. Yeah, it's great. John Paul, it's great for Stella, etc. All of those things are beautiful, but they know you, and they're going to be looking you and what you're doing. So all of these things help go in and support self-discipline.
Yeah, that's so good. I mean, and so like a life coach or motivational coach or somebody that's completely unbiased outside of Symmetry that can just focus on the fundamentals of perspective and mindset, right? You know, and you got to invest in yourself, right? If you're not reading books, if you're not working with a life coach or motivational coach or attending motivational speeches or watching them online or whatever the case may be, you are robbing yourself of your ultimate potential and who you can be in this world and in this life. And the key is you've got to be focused on being the best version of yourself that you can be. I love the fact that Symmetry is really a self-motivation or self-improvement type of a company where we all want you to be the ultimate version of you, but we happen to sell life insurance. And that's part of why our culture is the way it is, right? Those of you know, we're ranked one of the top corporate cultures in America 5 consecutive years by Entrepreneur Magazine, and we're one of the fastest growing companies, privately owned companies in America 5 consecutive years by Inc. 5000. Those are some pretty hefty credentials. If you're not well versed and read on some of the entities and organizations that I'm talking about, that's impressive, right? So you're part of a special place. And those people that I've spoke to, or when I interview them, I tell them straight up when I first talk to them, if I think that they're a good fit for this and we're going to decide to move forward in the relationship, I tell people this, and I'm not trying to be corny. I mean, this is a special place. And you don't necessarily know that, what that really means in the first interview or but you start spending a couple of conference calls and start spending some time around people and start listening to the folks in Symmetry and just the spirit of gratitude. And I said earlier, you can tell that it's real and genuine. I mean, that was the key for me, because, you know, I started our first full month was in August of 2018. And the end of that first month was the national conference in DC. And I had a solid first month out of the gate, but I was still a little skeptical because I was thinking, man, there's no way that somebody did this right. There's no way that somebody actually put all this together and the culture and the people and did it the right way. I've had too many negative experiences from my corporate lives in the past. And there's got to be a way somebody's going to screw this thing over, or there's a catch, an aha moment, right? And here, fast forward 2.5 years later for me, you know, coming on 3 years this summer, I'm more excited and more blessed and have a greater sense of gratitude and appreciation than when I first found this, because now I'm living it. I see it and I know it's real. And so you've got to get to that point where you start to see things through the proper lens and start to live life from a perspective of abundance instead of scarcity. And you can get there, but you've got to get the hell out of your own way mentally. And that's people's biggest problems. And a lot of that has to do with self-discipline, to your point, Eric, and just people's mindset, right? Yeah. The person that thinks they can and the person that thinks they can't, they're both right.
Yep.
Believe it. They're both correct, right? So great, good stuff there, Eric. So I'm being mindful of the time. Let's go ahead and move on to the next thing. We you know, you've heard me say before, you know, that, you know, your why and your fight and your grit has to be stronger than your excuses and your quit, right? And some of y'all, that's where you need to focus your attention to begin with. So everything else falls in line. So with that said, Eric, what would you say? I mean, how do you develop mental toughness? Because that's what it's about, right? It's about being tough mentally.
Yeah, it's well, you know, it's like you just said. I mean, your fight, your why, your grit, it has to be you know, bigger than your quit. It has to be bigger than you know, a bad day or a bad week or even a bad month, so to speak. It's that special blend of passion and persistence. That's what that mental toughness is. And one of the ways that you can or one of the ways that I develop that mental toughness is just having a strong why. When your why is strong enough, your why, that's your purpose, that's your cause, that's your belief that inspires you. And when you keep those things before you, then you realize that in the end, this is going to be something that's worth it. And anything that's worth having, like John Maxwell said, is going to be uphill. And there's no growth without adversity. Nobody has the story that, listen, everything that I did worked. Nobody has that story. So we have to go into it, with the right mindset. It's just like I had a person on my team who bought, some call-in leads, and thinking, she only bought, well, I don't want to say only, don't misunderstand me. She bought 5 call-in leads. She made like 1 appointment, but somewhat had the mindset, well, maybe I'm not doing this right, or, maybe I'm not doing well at all. But then when you put everything perspective, well, what's the contact metric says? It says, if you're going to get a call-in lead, then every 3 contacts, you should be able to get an appointment. Well, you bought 5 and you got 1 appointment, so you're doing well, which changed the perspective. And what we have to do is to make sure that we are around the right people and have the right associations, and plug into your mentor, plug in people who are going in the same direction, because a lot of times what they're able to do is to not only give you the support, but give you the reality and the big picture. Because a lot of times when you're in the fight or what have you, you can only see on your level, but someone else, a lot of times who's outside of the situation, can have more of a bird's eye view, and they can see things that are around you and see the progress that you have made, and make sure that, the right things are going into you. Of course, another way that you can develop that mental toughness, I know me personally, is I say confessions, or I guess some people call it affirmations, but say confessions or affirmations or what have you, and just, speak those things that you want. Those things that you want, So I say, yeah, I'm the best, agent in symmetry, and I keep saying those things. I say that I'm an elite producer. I say that I'm an agency owner. I build the blueprint of all of these things in me. And what happens is that once we get our minds and our subconscious filled with, the right thing, then it really does give permission for that thing to manifest in your life. So yeah, you gotta be protective of, who are you letting talk to you? Our thoughts and everything is just a big part of everything. Our thoughts, what happens is our thoughts are really being governed by like our observations, our associations, and our teachings. So whatever you keep looking at, whatever or whoever you keep hanging around, and whose words are you allowing to carry the weight in your life, that's why you have to be protective of those things, because those are going to be impacting your thoughts. And if your thoughts and your thinking is wrong, it doesn't matter about your skill set. It doesn't matter about anything else. If you're looking at this thing wrong, then it's going to be wrong. But if you can look at it right, and you have the right people around you, and you have the right words going into you, and you're telling yourself the right thing, there's a book, which is a great book from, I think his name is Shad Hemstetter, but it says what to say to yourself when you talk to yourself. That book, basically, you got to talk to yourself and tell yourself what you need and what you want, because sometimes, you're not getting it from everywhere else like you want. But that's also the reason why when you do have, a great mentor, and not just mentor, but mentor and friend like you, John Paul Vetter, and having a best friend like Natalie Hermit, I feel like, man, there's no way I can lose. If I'm off or whatever, I'm going to run into one of these people who I have around me who is going to say the right thing, who's going to say, well, Eric, yeah, okay, well, maybe that didn't work, but you still got this, you got this, and this, and look at this. No, you wanted to go from 0 to 20 in one step, but so what? You landed on 15. Keep going, you're going to get it, et cetera. So all of those things are just very, very good. So we were talking about your own self-talk. You're talking about having that strong why. You're talking about having the right people around you. All of that's going to contribute to that mental toughness.
That's so good, man. That's and I appreciate you too, brother. That's just great stuff for people to hear, right? and you gotta, people have to realize, and everybody has different styles, right? You know, and how they interact with folks, but you know, what you have to keep in mind, and some people aren't comfortable with what I'm going to describe, and some people aren't accustomed to it, and some people are drawn to it, right? But the point that I'm about to make, it falls in line with what you just said, is making sure you're listening to folks that love you enough to be honest with you, right? Because somebody who tells you the truth, even if it hurts your feelings, even if it makes you uncomfortable, even if it's not what you want to hear, if somebody loves you enough, the person that's honest with you loves you more than somebody who just watches you wallow in mediocrity because they don't want to ruffle feathers and don't want to upset you. I don't want to be around people like that.
Yep.
I want to know, because I want to be the best version of myself that I can possibly be, right? And you have to be open to hear that from people. And that's tough for some people, and it runs some people out of the business because they're not finding success, because they're not following the blueprint or the model. And then when they're being coached to do otherwise, or being given honest feedback and constructive criticism to help them, they don't want to hear it. It's tough for them to hear because they feel like somebody's bossing them around, or somebody's getting on to them, or somebody's being mean to them, or whatever. No, we want you to be the best bird. Nobody here wants to see you wash out, fail, or quit. Trust me. Nobody here can get where they want to go unless they find enough other business partners to help you get where you want to go. But you can't come here and tell your mentor that you want to accomplish X, and then when they see you're not doing what you're supposed to do or you need to do, and you ask them for input and feedback and they give it to you, and you get upset or get your feelings hurt or argumentative. And some people are like that, right? I can tell you the most successful mentees that I have on my entire team, none of them do that. They know everything I say to them is from a position of love. It's quick, to the point, honest, and direct, because they know that's exactly what they need to hear. And the ones that are the most successful receive it the way it was meant and jump right back into the fight and kick it into high gear. Period. Because they know it's coming from a position of love, because I care genuinely for everybody in my organization, all of us. I want everybody to be successful. Some people can't handle the honest, raw truth, and that makes them uncomfortable. That's something you need to go work on in yourself. The mentor doesn't need to adjust the messaging and their speed and tempo in the delivery if you're not on course and you don't want to listen to what they have to share with you. That's not the mentor's responsibility. That's the mentee. Now, that doesn't mean you can't talk openly about clarity or additional detail, or just making sure you're on the same page, right? This is a two-way street, right? It's about relationships. But you can't sit here and tell somebody you want to do something and you're not following the guideline, and you get mad because somebody's asking you about your accountability because you're not doing what you said you were supposed to be doing. What sense does that make?
Yeah,
we're not your boss. We're your friend and mentor, right? And there's a huge difference between those two relationships as far as being your boss, right? It is many friends that I've had in my past corporate lives. It inevitably, every one of them had an angle, because it was about what they could get from me for me to help them. And they play your buddy at the corporate dinners and all this kind of stuff, and they're friends, blah, blah, blah. They act, but when the day's done, they don't give a shit about you. They don't care. I'm just being honest with you. They most of them don't, right? Think about where you used to work in your old lives, your friends that you had there that were your buddies, that was your boss, not coworkers, but like your boss or your boss's boss, that were all hugging you and shaking hands and smiling and laughing at the corporate outing and event back in the day. When's the last time you ever talked to those people? Right?
Yeah.
Here, we're trying to build a relationship for life because we're all in this journey together. It's a lifelong mission to build forevers for all of us.
Yeah.
So go ahead, Eric. You had something else you want to add?
I was just going to say, and the beautiful thing that I just love about Symmetry, obviously the culture and all of those type of things, but there's simply enough room. There's room for all of us to win, every single person to win and to go to the top. So this is not like you said, a situation of, well, I'm at 120 and this, and I'm trying to prevent you from knowing this. And I'm trying to, answer a question without answering. And I'm not, there's just simply room for everybody to win. And this is just a great breeding ground for, personal development, legacy for your family, all of those things. It has just such redemptive qualities because, whether you were successful in the past or not, there's probably some areas where you didn't have, as much success, and you still remember those things. But Symmetry has the capacity to kind of erase all of that and give you another chance. Oh, well, don't worry about all of that. I know that you had all of that. You lost all of it. Maybe it was your fault. Maybe it wasn't your fault, whatever. It doesn't really matter. You can do this right now, and you can build and have, much more and have
change everything. Change everything.
Yeah.
That's so good, Eric. And I'll say one other thing and we'll close out to your point about opportunity, right? When you're in the corporate world and you're working for somebody else, you're trying to climb the corporate ladder, there's only so many positions available. And the smarter, sharper, and more ambitious you are, the more charismatic you are, the less your bosses and your boss's bosses actually like you. Because anytime you're around, you steal their shine. You're taking away from them and you highlight their inadequacies. So your ability to climb that corporate ladder in those scenarios, trust me, I've been there, done that shit. I've been there more times than I care to admit, right? Where I could only get to a certain level, but because people looking at you side eye, and not because of any lack of talent or ambition or drive or charisma, it's because of all those things that they're, and it's so petty, it's ridiculous, but you can only go so far in that environment before you get swept by the wayside, because you're going to potentially cause an issue with that person getting where they want to go. So it's a dog eat dog, stab you in the back kind of situation. Here, everyone wants you to succeed because we want you to get to the next level. I want to get to 120, and I want people on my team to get to 120 as quickly as possible because I want to lose my override on that downline. Because now I'm getting a piece of all of Symmetry's revenue as an equity partner. Did you see that Marshall Whalen's bonus check was $156,000 last month? Come on, man. Seriously?
Yeah. And that was just
I'm just saying. So we all want you to be successful. None of us can get where we want to get without each of you finding your own path. And you have to follow your own, right? Its own timeline and all that. But just be honest with yourself about what you want to accomplish and lean on your mentor and having just open, honest friendship conversations about your journey and your success, and listen to what they're saying to you because they care about you and they want you to be successful, right? And the last thing I'll say is just from on the opportunity, a piece of that is that right now there's about 200 agency owners in all of Symmetries. We have about 4,000 agents, 200 agency owners, and about 20-ish 120 equity partners, by 20 120s. In order for Symmetry to scratch the surface of 1% of this entire opportunity in the insurance market, we have to have like 10,600 agency owners and 600 or 700 equity partners and 100,000 agents. There's things that other insurance companies want us to do, but we need 100,000 agents to be able to do the things they want us to spearhead for them. We got 4. So I don't want to hear it about there's no opportunity. I couldn't make it. I couldn't do this. Look, don't tell me what can't be done while I'm doing it, period. There's so many other people that are doing that as well and have success stories well beyond what I've accomplished. They've been here longer than me and they're doing other things. So, but it's being done by so many people who put their ego aside and plug into the system, and they commit to themselves and their own forever. And that's the key to success as it relates to the basics. Nothing else matters if you don't have the right mindset and perspective on that. So just outstanding job, Eric. I mean, it's so much good content, brother. I appreciate you pouring into us, man, and getting a chance to give us your perspectives on things there, man. Just hope you were taking notes, folks there. I'm really excited about seeing your run here for AO over the next couple of months, brother. I'm here to commit to do everything I can to help you and watch you march on, brother. But it'll be just the first step of many. And there's several people on my team and Stellas and other folks that I know are doing the same thing and will make runs and make AO by the end of the year as well. Some in the fall, track where you're at and look at the calendar, put a mark on it and commit to yourself of accomplishing it by that date. So Again, I appreciate you. We're a couple of minutes over. Erick, do you have something else you want to add in?
I just wanted to say thank you to you as well. Thanks.
I appreciate you, brother. Look, I'm so blessed to be on this journey with all of you all. Have a great Friday. Finish the month strong for the end of the day. And then reload both barrels. Have a great, safe weekend for the holiday. And then let's charge into June and let's keep it going. All right. Thank y'all so much.